Hello friends, welcome back to the King YouTube channel. Meghan Markle has once again found herself at the center of controversy, this time sparked by an unexpected source, comedian Howie Mandel. Known for his sharp wit and no-nonsense attitude, Mandel didn't hold back when discussing Meghan's latest round of ambitious plans during a recent TV interview. His blunt assessment reportedly left Meghan both shocked and dismayed as he exposed her new initiatives as overly aspirational and lacking in practicality. What made this moment particularly surprising is that Mandel, typically known for his humor and lighthearted approach, took a more serious tone. He described Meghan's latest endeavors as foolish and criticized their lack of connection to reality. According to Mandel, Meghan's plans seem more like the result of wishful thinking than a well-thought-out, actionable strategy. This candid critique has left many wondering whether Meghan's lofty ambitions are rooted more in fantasy than in practical goals. Mandel's remarks have resonated with many who are growing increasingly frustrated with Meghan Markle's continual announcements of new ventures that promise much but deliver little. From her woke podcast to ambitious media projects, Meghan has sought to establish herself as a thought leader and philanthropist. However, as Mandel pointed out, these efforts often seem out of touch with reality, characterized by empty slogans rather than concrete results. Unsurprisingly, Meghan did not take Mandel's criticism lightly. Sources close to the Duchess revealed that she was taken aback by the public scrutiny, almost as if she was genuinely surprised that someone would openly challenge her questionable plans. Her reaction has been described as one of shock and dismay, which seems curious given her history of actively seeking media attention. Currently, Meghan's team is in full damage control mode, working tirelessly to spin the narrative in her favor and mitigate the impact of Mandel's comments. Meghan Markle's team is scrambling to reframe her initiatives as thoughtfully considered and misinterpreted, painting Mandel's critique as an unfair attack on her character. True to form, Meghan is positioning herself as the victim of another media misrepresentation, arguing that Mandel's comments are not a legitimate critique but an unwarranted assault on her integrity. The public reaction has been predictably divided. On one hand, there are those who commend Mandel's candor, viewing his comments as a much-needed dose of reality. They are frustrated by Meghan's constant self-promotion and projects that seem more about attracting headlines than delivering tangible results. For these critics, it is essential that Meghan confront the reality that her ideas often appear disconnected from the real world. On the other hand, Meghan's supporters rush to her defense, dismissing Mandel's critique as just another instance of the unfair scrutiny she endures. To them, Meghan is an innovative trailblazer who is being unjustly targeted by a media machine that is quick to undermine her efforts. But let's be honest, the defenses of Meghan Markle are beginning to wear thin. It's becoming increasingly difficult for even her most devoted supporters to overlook the recurring pattern: grand promises, ambitious plans, and very little to show for them. Examining Meghan's latest projects reveals a tendency for more talk than substance. Her new ventures, which include a series of inspirational charitable initiatives and public projects, have already faced criticism for being impractical and ineffective. Whether it's a new foundation, a documentary series, or a motivational podcast, Meghan's projects often adhere to a familiar formula: high on vision but light on concrete details and tangible outcomes. These initiatives are typically launched with great fanfare, accompanied by enthusiastic press releases and meticulously curated social media posts. Yet, once the initial excitement fades, what remains is often negligible. Meghan's ventures are frequently criticized for prioritizing optics over substance and focusing more on enhancing her personal brand than on creating meaningful change. This trend has not escaped the notice of the public or the media. There is a growing impression that Meghan Markle's latest ventures are part of a broader strategy to remain relevant in a rapidly evolving world. Since stepping back from her royal duties, Meghan has struggled to find her place, shifting from one project to another in a bid to maintain her public status. However, each new venture seems to underscore her detachment from reality and her difficulty in finding a niche that truly connects with the public. Critics argue that Meghan's projects appear more focused on satisfying her own need for validation and attention than on making a genuine impact. They suggest that she is more interested in playing the role of an inspirational leader than in engaging in the hard work needed to effect real change. This approach might have been effective in Hollywood, but it is proving less successful in the real world, where actions carry more weight than words. As we continue to observe Meghan's usual moves, it's evident that this strategy is falling flat in the face of public expectations for tangible results. Meghan Markle's response to Mandel's critique follows a familiar pattern. Faced with criticism, she often resorts to playing the victim, framing herself as the target of a harsh and misunderstood media. This narrative has been a staple throughout her public life, from her time in the royal family to her Hollywood ventures. However, there's a limit to how often one can play the victim before people start seeing through it. Her recurring claims of unfair treatment are increasingly sounding hollow. They appear less as genuine grievances and more as strategic moves to deflect criticism and control the narrative. Meghan may need to acknowledge that not all criticism is unfounded, some of it is deserved and necessary for growth. It's also worth noting that Meghan seems to thrive in these moments of controversy. Each time she finds herself at the center of a media storm, she manages to turn it into a spectacle, ensuring that all eyes remain fixed on her. This pattern of turning criticism into visibility highlights her skill at keeping herself in the spotlight, even as the substance of her initiatives is questioned. Whether through TV interviews, podcasts, or social media posts, Meghan Markle knows how to keep herself in the headlines. The latest drama with Howie Mandel is no exception. It has once again placed Meghan at the heart of a debate, allowing her to assume the roles of both martyr and misunderstood genius. This strategy keeps her name in the spotlight, a tactic that has served her well but is starting to feel stale. Ultimately, it's challenging to muster sympathy for Meghan when these controversies arise. Many would argue that she is simply reaping the consequences of her relentless pursuit of fame. Her constant need for validation and her tendency to play the victim have contributed significantly to her current situation. Meghan has crafted a persona that is both polarizing and divisive, and she now has to navigate the fallout of her actions. The truth is that Meghan Markle's approach to public life is more focused on spectacle than substance. She appears more concerned with crafting a personal brand than building a meaningful legacy, prioritizing her image over making a tangible impact. As long as she continues down this path, she will remain a controversial figure rather than an inspiring one. What makes Howie Mandel's comments particularly significant is that they represent a rare moment of blunt honesty. In a world often reluctant to criticize Meghan, Mandel spoke candidly about what many have been thinking, that Meghan's grand plans often seem more like fantasy than reality, disconnected from the practicalities of the world in which she aims to make a difference. By doing so, Mandel has not only highlighted the shortcomings of Meghan's latest ambitions, but has also reminded the public that sometimes a dose of honesty is essential. For too long, Meghan Markle has been allowed to present herself as a visionary leader without facing significant scrutiny, spinning her narrative while delivering scant concrete results. Howie Mandel's comments serve as a wake-up call, signaling that not everyone is buying into Meghan's narrative. This latest controversy underscores the growing public fatigue with Meghan's relentless quest for attention. People are becoming weary of the constant drama, the perpetual victimhood, and the endless cycle of grand announcements that seem more about self-promotion than real impact. The public is starting to question what Meghan truly stands for and what she hopes to achieve. To move beyond being a controversial figure and become one of substance, Meghan will need to offer more than just lofty ideas and ambitious plans. She will need to demonstrate that she can deliver on her promises and is genuinely committed to making a difference, rather than merely making headlines. Interestingly, Meghan's latest controversy with Howie Mandel reveals a deeper pattern of behavior that might be described as self-sabotage. Meghan seems to consistently set herself up for failure, creating cycles of controversy and self-inflicted setbacks. Until she addresses this pattern and provides tangible results, she will likely remain a figure of controversy rather than one of substantial impact. By overpromising and underdelivering, Meghan Markle repeatedly steps into the spotlight with grand ideas, only to fall short in providing concrete action or results. This cycle of high expectations followed by disappointment is not new for Meghan, but it is increasingly damaging her public image. Her tendency to launch projects without solid foundations or realistic goals reflects a significant lack of foresight in her planning. While she often presents her initiatives as groundbreaking, they frequently fail to make an impact due to their lack of substance or practical application. This creates a feedback loop where Meghan must continuously defend her actions, scrambling to maintain credibility amid growing skepticism. These repeated failures are not merely isolated incidents, but symptoms of a more profound issue: Meghan's refusal to acknowledge her own limitations and adjust her approach accordingly. A closer look at Meghan's actions reveals an insatiable need for external validation. Her relentless pursuit of public approval suggests deep-seated insecurity, a desire to be perceived as important, relevant, and influential. This need for validation drives her to perpetually seek the spotlight, but it also undermines her ability to achieve lasting and meaningful success. Her drive for visibility compels her to seek the spotlight at any cost, often leading her to overextend herself or venture into areas where her knowledge and expertise are lacking. This reliance on external affirmation has led Meghan into a series of poorly considered ventures. It seems her sense of self-worth is tied more to being in front of the camera, surrounded by media attention, rather than the tangible impact of her efforts. This could explain her constant rush from one project to another. Each new initiative seems like an attempt to capture the approval and admiration she yearns for, yet this strategy is inherently flawed. The more she pursues validation, the more difficult it becomes to attain, trapping her in a cycle of relentless self-promotion that does little to foster lasting respect or credibility. Simply put, it's time for a reality check. As Meghan Markle faces renewed waves of criticism, perhaps it's an opportunity for her to step back and reevaluate her approach. Rather than reinforcing her narrative of victimhood, perhaps Meghan could adopt a more humble approach, listening to her critics and concentrating on what she can realistically accomplish, rather than what she wants others to perceive she can. Her relentless quest for attention has brought her this far, but it may not propel her much further. If she truly wishes to be recognized for more than just sensational headlines, she must begin demonstrating that she's capable of making a genuine, lasting impact. Until then, she remains stuck where Howie Mandel left her adrift in a sea of misguided schemes and grand illusions, yearning for validation but receiving none. That concludes my thoughts on today's subject. Do you have any other perspectives? Feel free to share your views with us and others in the comments section below. Thank you so much for your support. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our The King YouTube channel. Goodbye, and I look forward to seeing you again soon.